Hello again, and welcome back to Through Geordie Lens. And today, we're in Flodden Fields, the site of one of the biggest battles in mounted soldiers between England and Scotland. Let's begin. In September 1513, the largest battle in troop numbers between England and Scotland took place. The battle took place here, which is just outside the village of Branxton, Northumberland, hence the alternative name for the Battle of Branxton. Prior to the battle, the Scots were based at Flodden Edge, which is how the battle became known as the Battle of Flodden. The Battle of Flodden was essentially a retaliation for King Henry VIII's invasion of France in May 1513. The invasion provoked the French King Louis XII to invoke the terms of the Old Alliance, a defensive alliance between France and Scotland to deter England from invading either country, with a treaty that stipulated that if either country was invaded by England, the other country would invade England in retaliation. The French king sent arms, experienced captains and money to help with the counterattack of England. In 1513, after King Henry VIII rejected King James IV's of Scotland ultimatum to either withdraw from France or Scotland would invade England, an estimated 60,000 Scottish troops crossed the River Tweed into England. Henry VIII had anticipated the French using Old Alliance to encourage the Scottish to invade England, and therefore had only drawn troops from the south of England and the Midlands to invade France. This left Thomas Howard, Earl of Surrey, Lieutenant General in the north, to command the English against the invasion from the north of the border. The Earl of Surrey was a veteran of Barnet and Bosworth. His experience became invaluable as this 70-year-old man began to head north, assimilating large contingents from the northern counties as he headed to Alnwick. By the time he reached Alnwick on the 4th of September 1513, he had assembled around 26,000 men. The Earl of Surrey had the news that King James of Scotland planned to position his army at Flodden's Edge on the 7th of September 1513. Flodden's Edge is an impressive feature rising up a height of between 500 and 600 feet. On hearing the news of the Scottish position, Surrey appealed to King James to fight on a more level ground, but the Surrey's appeals fell on deaf ears and King James refused. The day before the battle, Surrey began marching his army north so that by the morning of the battle on the 9th of September 1513, the English were in position to start approaching the Scots from the north. This meant King James's lines of retreat across the River Tweed at Coldstream would be cut off if he remained at Flodden's Edge, forcing him to march the Scots a mile from Flodden's Edge to Braxton Hill, a less daunting point but still uneven vantage point. The outcome of the Battle of Flodden was mainly due to the choice of weapons used. The Scots had advanced in continental style of the time. This meant a series of massed pike formations. The Scottish army's great advance of using high ground became its downfall as the hilly terrain and ground became slippery underfoot, slowing down the advances and the attacks. Unfortunately, the pike is most effective in battles of movement, which the Battle of Flodden was not. The English chose a more familiar weapon, the bill. A bill is an agricultural implement used for trimming tree limbs, but was often repurposed for use as an infantry polearm. This favoured the terrain and the flow of the battle, proving to have the stopping power of spear and the power of an axe. The English army, led by Earl of Surrey, lost around 1,500 men at the battle, but had no real lasting effect on English history. The 70-year-old Earl of Surrey gained his father's title of Duke of Norfolk and went on to live into his 80s. The repercussions of the Battle of Flodden were much greater for the Scots. Most of the accounts on how many Scottish lives were lost at the Flodden conflict was thought to be between 10,000 and 17,000 men. This included a large proportion of nobility, and more tragically, its king. Most of the nobility and the King James's IV's bodies were removed from the battlefield, but a lot of the other fallen soldiers were placed in mass graves around the battlefield. The Scottish still remember the Battle of Flodden today with the haunting ballad and pipe tune, The Flowers of the Forest, written 300 years after Flodden. The lyrics are written to commemorate the fallen Scots. I hope you liked that little history lesson. If you did, message in the comments. If you like these sort of videos, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.